So in the worst thing that could have possibly came out of this situation, Chennedy Carter has not only doubled down, she is now tripled down on her, let's just say, attack on Caitlin Clark.
Following her alleged assault on Caitlin Clark, Chelsea Carter was formally fired. Fans are wondering if this marks the end of her career and examining the chaos, corruption, and ineptitude that initially permitted this to occur.
Mabry doubled off to Carter. Her jumper is good. Chennedy Carter now with 12 points off the bench.
How in the world did Chennedy Carter remain in the league following this incident? Carter allegedly attacked one of the league's greatest talents, Caitlin Clark, and the WNBA chose to remain silent rather than take responsibility. Takes pride in being progressive, but let's face it, how can you be when a player can act in such a way with no repercussions? Because of the rules, players are essentially encouraged to act out knowing that they will at worst receive a slap on the wrist. Where is the integrity and discipline?
With 6 seconds left on the shot clock, and Chennedy Carter's eyes tell it all.
Remember how the WNBA dismissed it when DJ Owen Carrington jabbed Caitlin Clark in the eye with those talon-like nails? How can a player have accessories like long nails and hair that may as well be considered weapons? The league's attitude of condoning inappropriate behavior extends beyond the accessories, such as claws and eye gouging. Players like Carter know they can get away with almost anything because the WNBA lacks the guts to enforce its rules. And now that Carter's antics have pushed the league into a corner, let's not pretend that this was solely Carter's fault. Rather, let's talk about how the WNBA failed to uphold basic standards of professionalism. Now, let's talk about Carter herself. Following the incident with Clark, she apologized but showed no remorse. No. She doubled down because she knew she could get away with anything because the WNBA's history of allowing players like her to act untouchable.
And Clark. I mean, that's clear all which was called. The question is, will they call it unnecessary? Chennedy.
However, here's the thing. Career suicide is taking a dive on Caitlin Clark. If you want to pursue someone like Clark, you'd best have a stellar reputation and unquestionable talent to support it, but Carter doesn't have either. Clark is more than just a player. She's a brand, a superstar, and she's representing the league.
I feel like I'm just at the point where you accept it and don't retaliate. Just let them hit you, be what it is, don't let it get inside your head, and know it's coming. I think at this point, I know I'm going to take a couple hard shots a game.
We must now ask whether this is the end of Chennedy Carter's career because, let's face it, it doesn't look good. The WNBA may be forgiving of drama, but even they can't deny the negative reaction this incident has generated. Fans are furious, sponsors are watching, and the league's reputation is at stake. Carter had the chance to improve her reputation. She could have apologized, accepted responsibility, and moved on. But instead she chose to act entitled and haughty, and now she's paying the price. Additionally, the WNBA already has a shaky fan base that isn't particularly eager to support players who damage the league's reputation.
And has said she's going to do it again. Well, not necessarily said she's going to do it again, but has liked tweets saying she should do it again. Which, I'm not going to lie, that looks like a threat. That looks like it's a threat to do it again.
However, let's take a moment to zoom out. Carter's termination is only one sign of a much more serious issue. Because of the WNBA's lax enforcement of rules and discipline, circumstances such as these are unavoidable.
With 6 seconds left on the shot clock, and Chennedy Carter's eyes tell it all.
From Carter's obvious assault to Dion I. Carrington's weaponized nails, it is obvious that the league needs a significant makeover. If the WNBA hopes to be recognized as a professional organization, it is time to stop pampering players and begin imposing some true accountability, as the league currently appears more like a soap opera than a respectable sports organization. From Dion Carrington poking her in the eye to Chelsea Carter assaulting her, Caitlin Clark has experienced the utmost disrespect in the WNBA. It's obvious that some players are out to get her, and it's easy to understand why she is everything the WNBA sorely needs. A generational talent with an expanding following for the first time in their history, The WNBA doesn't even seem to know how to handle this, even though millions of people are watching them. She has charisma and a play style that is simply electrifying, but some players seem more interested in destroying her than in advancing the league. The WNBA has never had to deal with this kind of attention, and it shows that instead of stepping up and setting an example of how professional basketball should be played, they're fumbling the bag. This isn't basketball, it's a circus, and the WNBA is looking like a league that's completely out of its depth. Let's be honest, they didn't think they'd ever have to answer for allowing this kind of behavior to be tolerated, but now that the entire world is watching, they are being exposed.
Conversation with Reese, though, she said she followed up and had a conversation. Is there an understanding about, maybe there was a line that was crossed in terms of that particular?
There's no line. I'm competing. I'm going to compete. I've already let you know. I'm going to compete. If you're going to throw punches first, I'm going to compete. It's all love. It's basketball. This happens in the NBA. Actually, I'm focused on New York now. I'm not really focused on that play anymore. It happened, okay? It's just a basketball. It just happened. Like, it's over with. I don't know why we're dragging it, but we continue to drag a play that happened, and a whole fourth quarter happened after that.
And let's not overlook the part played by Chelsea Carter in all of this. If Carter had wanted to try out Taekwondo, she ought to have enrolled in martial arts classes rather than bringing it to the basketball court because, let's be honest, she wouldn't stay long there. Additionally, Taekwondo demands control, discipline, and respect, 3 qualities Carter blatantly lacks.
12th straight double-double. It's not a rookie record, not a Chicago record, it's an all-time record, and Carter comes down hard on Skylar Diggins-Smith, and she is slow to get up.
That Carter's on-court antics are actually entirely related to insecurity and have nothing to do with competition. In only a single year, Caitlin Clark has achieved more than Carter has in her whole career. While Carter is busy generating headlines for all the wrong reasons, Clark is out there shattering records, establishing new benchmarks, and redefining what it means to be a superstar. Let's take a look at this in a single year. Caitlin Clark has become a household name and the face of women's basketball, leading her team to historic victories and breaking milestones that most players could only imagine. Apart from creating drama, Carter hasn't really made an impression on the league, and perhaps that's the true problem here. When you've been in the league for years and still can't compete with a rookie like Caitlin Clark, who has accomplished so much in just a year, jealousy begins to show in Carter's actions, plain and simple.
Do you have any regrets on how it happened and everything that's happened since then?
I don't have any regrets with anything. I'm going to compete and play 100% hard no matter who it is, like I said, or who we're playing. No, I don't have any regrets.
Caitlin Clark is a target because she embodies all the qualities that players like Chennedy Carter aspire to have. There is no denying Clark's talent. Her work ethic is unparalleled, and her ability to captivate audiences is something the WNBA hasn't witnessed in decades. D players who are unable to cope with her success lash out and make crude remarks, both literally and figuratively. But the truth is that no matter how much hate they direct at her, she will always be rejected. Caitlin Clark continues to rise above everything. She is not only surviving but flourishing in this harsh atmosphere, and each time she takes the court, she serves as a reminder to everyone why she is the basketball player of the future.
Really intentional. Like, it's very clearly intentional. But I don't know what the hell happens now. I don't know what the hell happens now because I'm not sure the WNBA can do anything because, as I've said, like, Alyssa Thomas chokeslammed Angel Reese, which is more dangerous, by the way.
Fans are watching, sponsors are paying attention, and Caitlin Clark's career is evidence that this league has potential if only they would stop undermining themselves. The NBA is at a crossroads. They can either protect their stars and clean up the league, or they can keep allowing players like Chennedy Carter to drag them down.
And Clark. I mean, that's clearly a foul, which was called. The question is, will they call it unnecessary? Chennedy Carter.
At this pace, Carter's sole lasting legacy will be the moment she attempted and failed to overthrow the queen of the court. Perhaps it's time for her to consider why her career is in ruins while Caitlin Clark's is reaching unthinkable heights.
The violent motion down on her face that she pops her good. I think.
Before Caitlin Clark made her debut, The WNBA was largely an afterthought in sports discussions due to the talent that has entered the league. She not only brought skill to the court, but she also brought attention, excitement, and a fan base that the WNBA never imagined it could have. However, if this newfound success is to last, the league must tighten its regulations and enforce basketball standards or risk collapsing. Returning to obscurity, first of all, how is it even somewhat appropriate for athletes to push, prod, or physically attack one another on the court with little to no repercussion? This isn't playground basketball. It's meant to be professional basketball. Take a look at the NBA, where anyone caught shoving or taking a cheap shot faces instant penalties, including fines, suspensions, and ejections. This is not how basketball is played, and the rules and message are quite obvious. However, in the WNBA, situations like these appear to occur frequently, and the league does nothing about it, which is embarrassing.
Chennedy Carter now with 12 points off the bench.
The WNBA's inadequate enforcement of its own regulations is exemplified by Chelsea Carter's attack on Caitlin Clark. In what other league would a player get away with such behavior? If the WNBA wants to capitalize on the momentum Caitlin Clark has brought to the league, they need to clean up their act, which means implementing stricter rules, holding players accountable, and making sure that the game is played with integrity. It's not just about protecting star players like Clark, it's about protecting the league's reputation as a whole. In the NBA, you shove a star player for no reason and you're sitting out games, paying fines, and issuing public apologies. In the WNBA, this is just another day at the office. Such leniency not only damages the league's credibility, but also makes the games completely unwatchable.